With the arrival of Fortnite Reload, which brings back OG graphics, I thought I'd showcase the best settings to use, as well as showcase what different colorblind modes look like and what a stretched resolution looks like, so you can get that true OG feel and the best performance going into Fortnite Reload. If it helps, please drop a like and subscribe for more. Right, so in video, it's important to make sure full screen is enabled, as this gives you the lowest amount of input delay. Resolution, you can use the native 1920 by 1080, which does look like this in game. It is pretty good for visibility, but if you want more FPS, you should try a stretched resolution. In total, there's 3 different methods. The more advanced methods I talk about in this video on screen, but for the standard method, you literally want to go into the Fortnite config and change these 2 sections right here to your desired stretched resolution. That should then work in game. As you can see, it does look pretty good. You'll get higher FPS and you'll get bigger looking player models. Do be aware though that your FOV will be worse. Also, if you've got a high resolution monitor, make sure to set the highest hertz for it, as well as match that in game. I also recommend using the performance mode, as this will remove things like grass and just make your game overall perform better and look better, in my opinion, from like a competitive standpoint. As for the brightness, here's a comparison on screen. As you can imagine, the lower you have the brightness, the lower it will be in game. Vice versa, with the higher you have it, the higher the brightness will be in game. I myself prefer 100%. Colorblind mode though, as you can see from this comparison on screen, the OG colorblind modes are back, obviously with the OG graphics. I myself prefer the try to nope setting here with the OG graphics, but I know a lot of people out there do prefer either the default or Deuteranope. For the next set of settings, I do like to keep the majority of these on low for more FPS, but with view distance, I keep this higher to see items at a farther distance. As for the advanced graphics, a lot of you with a NVIDIA GPU will have the lower latency setting. I myself recommend using this if you do have a mid-tier or high-end PC, but if you've got a low-end PC, you probably want it off. For the sensitivity options, if you haven't touched the game in a while, you might want to start on a sense of 6.5% to 14% as a sort of like beginner range. From there, you can play a bit and fine-tune it to what feels the best. For ADS, I would say between 30% and 80%, and for scope, I'd say between 80% and 100%, while using a mouse DPI of 800 to 1600 plus, as using a higher DPI can have its advantages. See more in this video. It's actually the same with a higher mouse hertz too, as you can see on screen here. For the keyboard movement, I myself have found these settings to be pretty good. That's 70% on the forward angle, 90% on the strafe angle, and 135 on the backward angle. For the game settings, I'll just go through the ones that I'm using right now. These are all pretty standard and pretty good in my opinion. However, when it comes to the auto confirm edit section, you've got off, which is basically all manual. You've got edit, which automatically confirms the edit for you. You've got reset, which automatically resets for you. And then you've got a setting called both, which combines basically both of these. At the bottom of the game settings too, you'll find replays, which if you don't need these, I would recommend turn them off, as you'll get a slight FPS boost. And then just below that too, you've got energy saving, which I also would recommend turning both of these settings off for an additional FPS boost. For the HUD settings, you've got the reticle, which you do want on. Reticle ammo indicator adds a little indicator on screen. Damage numbers will either list them manually or they'll add them up for you, which is the cumulative setting. And then you've got the damage feedback settings, which can add hit markers and icons if you'd like them. Oh, and I've got my HUD settings on screen here, which does make my HUD UI pretty clean overall. For audio settings, I like my sound quality on high, as it does sound the best in game, but this does affect your FPS slightly, so if you want more FPS, you can try low. Visualize sound effects is a similar setting. This adds visual sound effects, but at a slight cost of FPS, but it's very minimal. But for the advantages you get while using both of these settings, I just can't help but recommend them. You'll also find inside of the audio options a subtitles section here. If you go ahead and copy all of these, you'll get a slight FPS boost. Moving on to keybinds, if you haven't touched the game in a while and you want to get back into building, I can recommend either one of these 2 sets on screen. You've got the first one, which uses keyboard keys, which wall is on X, floor is on V, stairs is on C, and roof is on left shift. And then I've got set 2, which uses the mouse binds, and this uses the wall on mouse button 5, floor on V, stairs on mouse button 4, and then roof on left shift. After that, your Fortnite Reload settings should be good to go. But next time, before opening up the game, you should head into the Epic Games Launcher folder, then locate the engine file. Inside, paste this command. And what this does is it increases your download speeds on the Epic Games Launcher, so you'll download game updates way faster than before. Then go to options. In here, you'll see save the world, which is the specific game files for that. If you don't play update, disable this setting. High resolution textures, these are required to make the game look a lot more beautiful in game, but if you disable this setting, it'll give you a slight FPS boost. DirectX 12 shaders, these are required to use the DirectX rendering mode. If you don't use this and use performance mode, you should disable this setting. And then you've got pre-download stream assets, which I like to keep enabled, because if you didn't know, this pre-installs all the assets when you join the lobby, which prevents the assets from being streamed when you encounter them in game. So overall, if you copy these exact installation options, you will get more FPS. In addition, at the top right of the Epic Games launcher, you'll see settings. You want to scroll down to see desktop notifications, and you want to disable both of these options, as when they are pushed out by Epic Games, they can cause FPS stutters in game. After that, you can scroll down till you find additional command line arguments, and if you tick this is optional by the way, you can try pasting in these different commands for different benefits. However, I will note a lot of people have said that Epic Games sadly no longer support these command lines, but it's something you can try anyway. After, head into manage, where you should also verify your in-game files before playing any new season or new game mode. Moving on, I want to showcase how you can get potato graphics in Fortnite Reload using NVIDIA Profile Inspector, where you can configure hidden NVIDIA settings. Just simply Google it, then click on the GitHub link, then download the latest version, where you'll then need to extract it, and after that you are all good to go. What I like to configure in here is a setting called potato graphics that can boost your FPS with the obvious lower graphical quality, which I did make a video about. But if you want this, you need to firstly select what game you want to use it for. You then need to scroll down to anti-aliasing. You need to change this setting to 0x08 replay mode all. From there, you can scroll down to texture filtering. You can turn off the driver control LOD bias. Then below that, this is where you can configure how potatoey you want the graphics to be. A few options are low graphics. These are the settings on screen. Then you've got ultra low graphics. These are the settings on screen for that. I myself like low graphics as it's a good happy medium. The settings for that are both +0 5000 on the LOD bias settings. Then after that, you can apply the changes and you'll see in game you now have potato graphics. And that's been the best Fortnite Reload settings. This game mode as we speak has more players than the official Battle Royale mode, which is crazy, but not really surprising, as with the OG map and the OG graphics, it's obviously going to bring back a lot of older players. So hopefully a video like this does help out. If so, feel free to drop a like, drop a sub, and support me in the item shop. Right now there's actually a superhero skin, which is one of the OG Fortnite skins, so if you want to support me and grab that, you definitely can do. Before you go though, feel free to check out any of my other videos on screen right now.